What if I told you that one of the most accurate predictions about the state of America today came not from a politician or a pundit, but from an astronomer nearly 30 years ago? Carl Sagan, the brilliant mind behind Cosmos, warned of a future America drowning in misinformation, stripped of critical thinking, and ruled by the powerful few, while the public clung to superstition over science. In his book, The Demon Haunted World, Sagan didn't just anticipate our political division and scientific illiteracy, he nailed it. And yet, despite his warnings on climate change, we largely ignored him. In this video, I'll summarize how Carl Sagan's words still echo in our headlines today, and why a renewed commitment to skepticism, reason, and collective action is more urgent than ever. And when I meant we, when I said me, I really meant me, we, as in everybody right here. And also, so this story actually comes from Scoop Upworthy by Vani Coker on July 7th, 2025. So, Cindy, I'm coming to you. You know, you talked about reading about this extract from the Demon Hunted World, and you said you feel a little conflicted. Tell us about your conflict.
Yes, my conflict is that on one hand, I think Carl Sagan was a really brilliant man. I loved his show Cosmos, which is available on YouTube right now. And I suggest everyone to watch it. It's brilliant. He's a fabulous communicator, and he explains things in a way that they are understandable even by me, by you and me, by everyone. It's even complicated things. So yeah, he's brilliant. On the other hand, the thing he describes in this in his book, which was published in '96, I think, they were already very well on the way when he wrote it. So, like corporation, they were moving their factories to China, starting in the '80s. The trickle-down economy that was supposed to be miraculous to everyone started 20 years ago, compared to his quote. Inequalities had already started to increase because of that. The attacks on public schools started at the same period, which is, it sounds like like a coincidence, but it all began with one man, I would say. So yes, everything he says is true because it started already 20 years before he said it. And it kept on going because of the political makeup of the United States. But what people in the US feel when reading this is the same feeling that the rest of the world is feeling right now, watching the US turning fascist.
Just gonna rub it in a little. I'm just gonna rub it in. Just
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Cindy, for that.
We know it's happening.
Yeah, we kind of do. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but my point is, I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm just saying that this feeling that we have on the outside right now, seeing this thing happening, and we know why it happens. We know what's going to happen, and we've been saying it for a decade, and it's still happening. I'm pretty sure it's very close from what Carl Sagan was feeling at the time, and that's the reason why he wrote this back then. That's my point.
I gotcha.
Yeah, we're picking up what you're putting down, Cindy, and everyone. We have a new podcaster who has joined us as host. Everybody say hello to Ra. Say hi.
Hello.
Say hi, Ra. Hi. Okay, very good. You want to talk about Dr. Sagan?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you have to say about Dr. Sagan?
He's Dr. Sagan.
Yeah.
He lived on the house.
He did live in a house. Yeah, and he even testified in front of the House of Representatives. Did he? Didn't he?
Yeah.
About climate change?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Man.
know. Yeah. Smart
Ron
kid.
knows a lot about Carl Sagan.
He does.
Knows way more than me.
he has a pretty good, source. But, Tracy, I wanted you to talk about Dr. Sagan and how he was, plugged in. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I mean, I think Cindy pretty well laid it out. He seemed to have just been a guy who was really well plugged into what was going on economically and society around him at the time. He had to have been in order to have made a prediction that came true. But thanks to Cindy, I now know that it's kind of like, yeah, duh, that was already going on. It was sort of like the wars and rumors of wars thing. It's like, yeah, clearly, good job. There's going to be weather today. Oh, wow. Wonderful prediction. I'm a lot less impressed with him. Thank you for disillusioning me, Cindy.
I'm sorry. I'm a buzzkill.
No, I'm not being. No, thank you for disillusioning me. I love being disillusioned because I thought it was pretty impressive. But now that you pointed that out, that it was already all going on. Yeah. All right. I wasn't born yet. I couldn't have made that call. So you know what? There you go.
Just one thing I'd like to point out about climate change. In the late 70s, there was a big meeting, international meeting between big powers, and they knew back then that climate change was starting to be an issue. The problem is, at the time, there was also the ozone layer problem. And so the powers that be decided that it would be too much for the public to handle both issues. So they decided to focus on one, and they pretty much solved it. We have to be honest with that. The ozone layer is now almost 100% back, and that problem has been almost solved. But it was at the detriment of climate change. And so when people say it's a new thing, it's definitely not. It was already a thing in the 70s.
Listen, let me talk to you all about something. If you are not a person that watches like old episodes of Doctor Who, yes, I'm about to get into my Whovian life.
Who it out?
I'm hooving out right now. There was an episode that actually had a professor on it that talked about and protested different companies in the UK.
Different companies
in the UK. That were contributing to the holes in the ozone layer.
The holes in the ozone layer.
And so since they were talking about also all these particular issues that were happening with global warming and climate change.
They'll talk about oceans.
And so since this was the case, we know that this is not a new topic, right?
This is okay.
It's not a new topic, right?
It's not a new topic.
It's not a new topic, right? So basically, Carl Sagan was talking about a lot of the different things that was happening at that particular time. It's
that particular about time.
Right, exactly. And so since we know this is the case,
since we know the case,
we know that we had people who happen to be in power.
We know that having people power
would actually try to turn to something else in order for us not to talk about these things.
Turn to something else.
Right. And so now we are in this place where we have climate change deniers, correct? Climate change deniers, right, Ra?
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Yeah,
Why,
and it's a problem, isn't it, Ra?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a problem. And now that we are dealing with what we're dealing with now, even though, like, I know that Carl Sagan was necessarily a prophet, but he definitely could read the times. So I want to ask you both, what would a serious human-centered approach to an existential threat like climate change actually look like? And why has the political will to act remained weak despite decades of warning? Tracy, I want to start with you, and then Cindy, I want you to follow up.
All right. What would a human-centered approach to an existential threat like climate change look like? From my understanding, what a good, strong human-centered approach would have been to cut our emissions drastically some number of decades ago. I think that there is stuff that we can do, but I've heard a lot of, and once again, I'm very not educated on the ins and outs of climate change, but I mean, there's always a certain amount we can do, right? We can cut back on whatever we can, but my understanding is that we have kind of abused our atmosphere and in such a way, and abused the earth in such a way that we've kind of hit a point of no return along several different axes. Like, we're never going to get all of the plastic out of the world that we've dumped into it, and that is a problem. But for the weather, for the climate change, I don't know what the current experts are saying would be the best course of action, but I think maybe just listening to them instead of ignoring them and saying it's more important to chase after money. And that's how we got to this point. A lot of it was chasing after money. Things were too expensive to do at a certain time, and things of that nature. But what did you have to say, Cindy? You have probably a much smarter thing to say than I did.
I don't think we want to have a human-centered approach to fight climate change, because humans are not the only ones impacted by climate change. We need to take into account all the entire ecosystem of the Earth, and any attempt at a solution that would be human-centered, in my opinion, would be incomplete. But yeah, Tracy said it. It's you can't solve the issue when the source of the issue is capitalism. It's that simple. The consumption society, that's the source of half of the issue. Lobbyists decide pretty much everything that happens in the world. That's the source of the problem. Until we solve this, we won't be able to solve climate change.
Yeah, even though, like, I understand that, it's not just like human beings that's impacted by climate change, or even like that's impacted by any of the policies that we're dealing with as an electorate now. It's still going to take, people who happen to be in the seats that make the decisions to actually have that mindset. And I know that there's a lot of organizing on the ground that is pushing for policy change, and also is pushing for a new direction when it comes to how we handle what we're dealing with right now. Because, like, unfortunately, capitalism is not just driving like how America is responding to climate change. It's also driving how we are putting other policies into effect and how it's also affecting the people who happen to be around us, right? And unfortunately, here we have an uphill battle. We have an uphill battle because right now, the more that we have people who deny climate change is a thing, and deny that some of the other policies that have come out as of late are harmful, we're going to constantly deal with the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know what the thorough road is, but I know that we can't deal with what we're dealing with now. Like, there's going to be a breaking point, and how that looks and how it's going to, show up, I'm concerned. I mean, especially since we have our co-host right here. Unfortunately, he's going to be one of the ones in the generations that's going to inherit the issues that we are dealing with over because of, what's in front of us right now. I'm just hoping, because I just keep on going back to this about, the importance of critical thinking and skepticism, and also the importance of making sure these particular thinking patterns are in our kids. Because, without, sounding, cliche, that, when Whitney Houston saying that she believes the children are our future, they are. They're the future leaders. And it's incumbent on all of us to really, be that person that's in front of them, that's actually teaching them that, hey, thinking is a thing and questioning is a thing. And just because somebody is over authority over you and they want to deny, basically, don't, who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes? Like, yeah, my eyes are not lying, sir. It has to be that, to that particular point where, we're telling our kids and telling our future that, we need to be more leaning on empiricism and skepticism and critical thinking, and also being able to say to the ones who happen to be above us, no, what you're saying is wrong and how you're doing it is incorrect, and we need to change course. I wish I knew what's the best way to confront these myths, but the only thing that I can really think of is just making sure that we're teaching those who happen to be under us how to spot them. What are your thoughts on that? Tracy, I'm going to start with you, and then Cindy, you.
I think you're right. It's too long of a battle. It's far too long of a battle to be solved in my lifetime, probably in our little co-host's lifetime, even. I mean, it'd be great. It'd be great if so. I'm just, that's not where I'm putting my money. We need to keep passing on the value of such things and just hope that it continues to be passed on in that fashion. I don't have much else. What do you got to say, Cindy?
So last week, France decided to end the to allow again the use of some pesticides that were not permitted to use since, I think it's 2020. And so when the Congress people were interviewed, I remember specifically one who was asked, scientists say that those products, neonicotinoids, they are killing all the bees and all the insects, and they also bring cancer to people. And the congressman said, that's not true. That's not proven. We don't know that. And the guy who was interviewing said, oh no, we have quite a lot of social studies and we have evidence of this. scientists are pretty clear on this. And the guy says, oh, scientists, like, yeah, we know what scientists say. They always, bring fear to people. That's what it was. So there's a world of difference between the French democracy and the U.S. democracy, and yet we still end up with this kind of problems here. So it's a global issue. It's a global phenomenon. I don't know how we can fight it, because if you fight it incrementally, like if you try to create a source of power, like a party that would follow some.
Oh no.
And skepticism, and start from the bottom and go your way up, it would take 50 years to change things. On the other hand, the only way to change this is to topple the billionaires that are in charge and make sure that no change ever happens. But how can you do that? Because they have all the money and all the power. So yeah, I agree it's going to be a very uphill battle.
My final reflection, guys. I would say that Carl Sagan wasn't a prophet. He was a scientist armed with reason, history, and a deep concern for humanity. His predictions weren't mystical revelations, but the results of clear-eyed observation of where we were headed if we continued to abandon critical thinking and civic responsibility. Today, we face the very real crisis he warned about: climate inaction and crisis of truth, and widening gaps between power and people. But unlike superstition, humanism doesn't offer false comfort. No, it does not offer false comfort. Now, does it? No, it doesn't. It calls for us to think harder. Act wiser. And care deeper. For the planet. And each other. The future is not foretold. It's forged. And it's ours to shape. With reason, compassion, and courage. And if you have courage, though, do you have courage? Do you have courage? Are you brave?
Yeah, I'm totally brave.
Right. And you should have courage and be brave enough to hit the button and watch more nonprofits. So click here.